Sass and Bide debuted their first seasonal collection at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week in 2001 under the New Gen or Next Generation group. And this initiative enabled select newcomers a crack at the big time in what it is and was a very tumultuous and unforgiving industry. Strangely enough, within that same batch of newcomers was Australia's own bad boys of denim, Dan Single, George Gorrow and Gareth Moody, aka Subi. With both genders catered for, the era of Australian designer denim was born.
Occasionally in this job you catch a glimpse of dreams realised, of deserved success from small beginnings. Here in New York I found such a story. On its crowded sidewalks and busy streets, I found two of the most fashionable names in fashion, and they're Australian.
They were just great fun. We loved their energy. They were, rule breakers. Just sort of, I don't know. They were good friends. They became good friends. So I think that it was nice to be going through that at a similar time, because we would just, friends and a lot of interesting creative friends. It was this whole...
Yeah, it was a whole lifestyle for them, wasn't it? It was just a tribe, the Subi tribe, and they just demanded presence, and everywhere they went, they had an energy, a great energy about them.
Clearly remember meeting Dan Single at the denim facility, the denim maker, and he was wearing a candy pink women's jumper, sort of off the shoulder, and he had this peroxided hair. And we were like, who? But he looks out of place here. He looks like someone we would have met in one of the nightclubs in London or something, not downtown Marrickville or wherever it was. So we struck up a conversation that day and became great friends very quickly. We had we were invited to, as part of a group show, to show 12 pieces, which was a big deal for us. And then after that, we did our first solo show, which was at the
Powerhouse.
No, the Powerhouse Station. Sorry,
I've gone straight to the museum. No, you're right. It
was
the
Power
Station over in Glebe.
Just over the bridge,
that was
Anzac
our
Bridge.
First solo show.
sort of the description we've sort of been using is it was part preppy, it had quite a preppy feel, and then sort of Tibetan princess, and then with a little bit of ghetto chic, like a bit tough girl with the motocross pants. So it was a clash of sort of three looks, and then a few other little bits sprinkled in as well.
They had just returned to Australia after a very successful stint at the Portobello markets in London, and they were actually in the Paddington markets in Australia, and creating a bit of hype there. And I met them, and they came into my office, and I was like, "Girls, what are you doing? It's fantastic. We need to have you involved in Australian Fashion Week. And you know what you're doing in denim is quite incredible. It's just amazing. This whole new design that you're doing, it's really taking the world by storm." They came on board, but the beautiful thing about the girls is they just didn't show denim. For the first time ever, Sass and Bide showed ready to wear on the catwalk at Australian Fashion Week, and of course that really gave them the opportunity to grow that brand well beyond the denim capsule they originally had. And of course, you know, Sass and Bide went on to be one of the most successful brands in Australia. You know, they sold the company for a fortune, and Sarah Jane and Heidi have now progressed on and launching new creative ventures as well. So yeah, it was wonderful. And they also had a really keen sense of different creativity they brought to their collection shows. Sometimes they showed on site at Fox Studios, and then later at the Overseas Passenger Terminal. Sometimes they showed in amazing warehouses around Sydney. Yeah, they really added a lot of great vibrancy, and of course they became one of the international superstars out of Australian Fashion Week.
That was sort of instrumental in sort of launching us in the ready-to-wear sort of sense, because we'd just been doing denim before that, and the denim had taken off. But we were invited to show as part of On Schedule, and this was the first show, and yeah, it was a great night. We loved the styling just as much as designing the clothes, so you can see, you know, the styling was sort of unique.
Yeah, we really went to town on the styling.
Yeah, it was a big, yeah, so our first show was called, it wasn't Lady Punk.
No, it was...
No, Love Guard Gracie. Yeah, Love Guard Gracie.
Yeah, with the feathers.
Yeah. So we'd have fun naming the shows. So our first fashion show, solo show, was called Love Guard Gracie, and it was at the power station just underneath the Anzac Bridge. And I think it was a Mercedes Fashion Week then, so we turned up in, remember, turning up in
Yeah, you did.
Sorry.
It was very, I think they were really inspired from when they started at was it Portobello Road? At the markets and all of that. It was lots of kind of vintagey pieces mixed together in a way that it girls and cool girls kind of put it all together, and they just kind of hit on the right items at the right time that girls wanted to wear. I mean, every girl wanted to look like that.
Didn't you?
Don't bring me in on that.
And I had a wig on that night. Remember, I had a wig because I'm naturally curly. I had a wig with this straight fringe, a bit. I don't know what the look was, but anyway, I thought it was pretty special at the time. So we had a great lineup of models and a packed house, and we got really strong press after that first show. So that was all. It felt like we were being carried along. You know, there are sometimes those moments in life when you feel like you're being carried by an external energy or force. We were just on this ride, and yes, we were working hard, very hard, but it was also this energy. It was just sort of from every level and layer. It was just very positive and very dynamic, and there was just so much great reaction to what we were doing, so we just, you know.
Yeah, remember we've got the front cover of Good Living, wasn't it? When they used to do the fashion in Good Living. So it was our first front cover that we ever got, which was very exciting for us at the time.
Yeah.
But it was just, I think our first solo show was a monumental moment that we had pulled that together, and that, you know, we felt like we had really made it as a brand here in Australia. And then that sort of made us look a little bit more internationally and we thought, well, maybe we should go and conquer the world.
Less than a year later, in 2002, Sass and Bide would present their ready-to-wear line in London. And in 2004, they took on the Big Apple, New York City.
We love our vintage and our styling pieces, so we like to, you know, heavily style the shows and use all of our favourite vintage pieces that we find around the world.
If they're rapidly becoming the name on everyone's lips, that's largely because they're being seen on some very famous hips. Madonna, Kate Moss and Robbie Williams in Subi jeans. Paris Hilton, Sarah Jessica Parker and Kylie and Elle in Sass and Bide. Even Mick Jagger's daughter, Lizzie.
As a woman, do they make you feel special, powerful?
Yeah, sexy.
In New York, it was Fashion Week. Few are invited, fewer succeed. At the casting for models for their show, Heidi Middleton and Sarah Jane Clarke, the women behind the Sass and Bide label, were still soaking it in.
It's really a bit surreal, actually. I mean, here we are in New York, two best friends from Brisbane, casting these amazing girls with a beautiful collection. It's like, we've got to pinch ourselves.
Yeah, we do. We did that in the taxi on the way from the airport, you know, just had a little moment, bestie moment.
We were just saying it feels sort of surreal looking at it now because it was such a busy time, and like Sarah Jane said earlier, we didn't have a chance to sort of stop and recalibrate and reflect and things. So it's mixed emotions. I mean, I love seeing this. We were laughing about the haircuts and the styling. And
Oh yeah, this was really at like our peak of frenzy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the peak.
Frenzy was really happening here.
Yeah.
Seeking inspiration from weekend markets, they started making clothes. At first, just to please themselves, but soon Heidi and Sarah Jane realised they had a talent and the desire.
Do you know what era, roughly?
I would say about 1940s.
40s, beautiful.
So 5 years ago, and with no formal training, they quit their jobs and risked everything to begin their Sass and Bide business. 3 years ago, while walking around New York, they ran into Sarah Jessica Parker on location for Sex and the City.
She called us over and she loved what we were wearing. She was like, who are you and where are the clothes from? And I love your look. And the next day we were in her trailer with our suitcase pulling out our Sass and Bide pieces, pulling out our wares.
We had just finished an appointment at Bloomingdale's with the Sass Bide there, and we were walking home to our hotel, and as we were going, we looked over to the side and there was the filming of Sex and the City. So you know how they filmed a lot on the streets. So we just happened to walk past and we were like, oh, that's Sarah Jessica Parker. And we were like, we've got to give her something now so that she knows about the brand. So we're like, okay, well, let's give her the denim jacket that I was wearing, because we only really had the, I don't know,
A few pieces on us, yeah. So
why didn't we give her a new one?
I don't think we had a suitcase or anything. I think we'd had the appointment and then we were just walking in what we were wearing, and then we said, let's give her a funky Thompson jacket, which is what you had on. So we went and tapped the security guard on the shoulder. I thought, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. We might as well try. So we asked him, told him our story. We're an Aussie brand, showing him, selling our wares in New York. Would you possibly give this to Sarah Jessica as a gift? And he sort of looked at us and looked us up and down, and they were having a little break in filming, so he marched over to Sarah Jessica you could see him just telling her about the jacket and pointing to us, and we're sort of waving. And then she was like, I love this. Oh my God, they designed, I love this. This is so me. And then she suddenly beckoned us. Oh no, she came over. She came over.
And she goes, girls, thank you so much for this jacket. I absolutely love it. I want to see more of the collection.
Like, have you got more
Meet me
pieces
tomorrow.
Here? Yeah.
In my trailer, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. We're like, okay, see you then.
We'll do that.
So then we met, and I think Big was there, wasn't he? Because he was obviously dating her on the show at the time. So he came into the trailer when we were doing our little fittings, and we spent an hour or two with her, and she actually ordered on the spot a lot of pieces that she then went on to wear on the show.
Amazing.